Look how cute they are. Hi, honey. Such a cutie. This is where you come when you're broody for a dog. You don't have one of your own. So, why Boston? I thought I would address this topic about what makes the Boston Marathon so special, at least to me and at least to a lot of people. Boston is the oldest running marathon in the US. People try and qualify what's called BQ. They try and get a Boston qualification time, and that varies for different age groups and different genders. But not only that, even if you do run a qualifying time, you still have to make the cutoff. That is also what makes it so harsh. I mean, this marathon started, this will be the 122nd version of the edition of the marathon. It started 122 years ago with just 15 people. This year, 30,000 people are going to be running it. It gets capped at that. And you know, in my age group, well, I think overall you had to have run 3 minutes and 23 seconds faster than the qualifying time for your age group to have made it within the selection to be running this year. So it's a huge privilege, and I know many runners will try for a very, very long time to get it, and it really is not something to be taken lightly. But when I made my video last year after running it, I spoke about the whole process, and you know, I didn't get it on the first shot, I didn't get it on the second shot. The third time I actually got it, and I won a trophy for running at the same time because I came in third. I never won a trophy for running in my life. It was a very small field. The lessons that it gave me, the insight to myself, into myself that it provided, was part of the whole allure for me of what Boston really means. So that was really an incredible experience overall, when you can look back and go, oh wow, I learned something. Of course, in the moment you just get frustrated with yourself to wonder when it's 39 seconds and you didn't make it, you just I also wanted to talk about what Boston itself means to me. I'd never been to Boston until 2013. I went to cover the story of the Boston Marathon bombings. I went with my friend, and she's also a journalist. She works for, at the time she worked for a Canadian broadcasting company, and we teamed up together. We drove to Boston the morning that we had heard of the bombings, the two bombs that had gone off at the finish line, and we drove to go and report from there for our respective companies, me for Eyewitness News in South Africa and her in Canada. And we spent a few days there, very scary days as well, because it was still when the city was on lockdown. At one stage, she and I were looking for petrol, we were looking for a gas station to fill up, and we actually went to the gas station where the suspects, the Tsarnaev brothers, had actually stopped and hijacked, or they captured the guy who they then took his car, and that had happened half an hour after we left that particular station. So it was a very scary time, but it was also just really incredibly hard to see supporters being attacked. That's what upset me the most. I was a runner then, I was thinking about the people that you rely on, you know, the people that come and support you. Those are the ones who help you get through a marathon at the moment where you just think, oh, I can't anymore. You know, your supporters. And the fact that these guys targeted the finish line of the marathon in the crowd where people were gathered. You know, 3 people died that day, and then a police officer later, and hundreds, over 200 were injured. I remember the number that I kept reporting of injured people kept going up, and we both went to the hospitals, and we were at press conferences, and it was really, really harsh to see. But I remember vowing then that I would be back at Boston. I would return to Boston to run it. And of course that was easier said than done, but I did return that following year to support and to cheer the people who were running. I got to then come back and actually run it myself. So it was... It's a very loud airplane. Oh no, it's a helicopter. I still get emotional when I think about Boston and what it means to run it. And when I come to the end of it last year, you know, when I turned onto Boylston, because it's on Boylston where the bombs went off, just towards the end, and I think about all the people who were just standing there, you know, to support their friends and family. I mean, I'm even tearing up now, because it's the supporters that you rely on, you know, and the fact that, sorry, the fact that they were the ones who were injured, you know, the little boy who lost his life, and the girl, and then Jeff Bowman, if you watch the movie that Jake Gyllenhaal plays Jeff, it was a really good film. Stronger, I saw it at the Toronto Film Festival, and I've also watched the Patriots Day film, which is a Hollywood version that Mr. Boston himself, Mark Wahlberg made, and then the documentary that was on HBO, Patriots Day, the marathon bombings. If you can watch those, you will get such a greater insight into what happened on those days. But I really encourage you to watch the documentary, because the documentary really takes you into the families whose lives were forever altered by that day, and you see how they've tried to recover and what they've been through, and you know, you just are blessed once more with the wonder of what life really is about, and what it means to be with the people you love, and to do the things you love, and to create joy as much as you possibly can. So I run the marathon to pay tribute to the fact that I can run, to the fact to all those who have run before me, to all those who have yet to run after me, and I hope to create joy too as I run along, blowing air kisses to people along the way. Okay, let me go and get some food, because, you know, never not eating. I'll see you again tomorrow. I hope you come back, and hey, if you haven't checked out my other videos in this little on running series, you can do so. It's all below. Thanks.